Up next on Small Town Big Deal. Rodney wanted to teach me how to milk a cow, but it quickly turned into utter madness. And then
It's the North versus the South.
I'm already dead.
Well, kinda. Welcome to Small Town Big Deal.
we've traveled across the country and firmly believe that the people in small towns are the hands that keep America strong.
So join us, Rodney Miller,
And Jan Carl.
as we show you the great things these people do on Small Town Big Deal.
Hi, I'm Rodney Miller,
And I'm Jan Carl.
and welcome to Small Town Big Deal. You know, we're going to show you how old school is now new again.
That's right, it's all happening right here at the Chateau Family Farm. It's in Osborne, Missouri. Population 422.
You have to travel on some long, quiet country roads to find the 400-acre Chateau homestead.
And at first glance, it seems like a pretty typical dairy farm.
But what the Chateau family has done over the last decade is anything but typical.
Meet Leroy Chateau. He's called the man who made milk fun again.
And believe me, when you see some of the milk flavors that Leroy has developed, you're going to understand why.
Okay, the first one's gonna be banana milk, okay? This is the Orange Dream. It actually tastes like Fruit Loops.
It's good.
Okay, strawberry, tastes like strawberry.
Say good news.
The milk.
Okay, root beer.
Root beer? Now we're talking.
You guys, cotton candy?
It's pretty obvious that Leroy is a kid at heart. I mean, come on, cotton candy milk? What kid wouldn't love that?
I think Leroy is a genius. You'd have to be to combine two of my favorite drinks, root beer and milk, and make it taste so good.
Which is your favorite?
All of them? Oh, yes.
Well, it hasn't always been so cheerful here on the Chateau farm.
Barbara is Leroy's wife, and the farm has been in her family for over 100 years. It's truly a part of her heart and soul, but there was a time she thought they might lose it all.
Tell me about the 90s and the challenges you faced on the dairy farm here.
Actually, they were really very bleak. In the 90s, the milk prices were extremely low. They plummeted lower than when my parents were in the dairy business. We couldn't support the family farm, so a decision had to be made. Either we were going to stop dairying or do something different.
Leroy decided what would be different would be to sell directly to the consumer and bring back the old-fashioned glass bottles.
When Leroy said, hey, we're going to use glass bottles like the 1950s, what did wife Barbara think?
Barbara thought that was the most wonderful idea. Absolutely. I'm all about retro. Oh, I'm very sentimental about the way things used to be.
I love the fact that they've gone back to the old-fashioned milk glass bottles. I mean, the milk bottle is such an icon to a time when things were simpler and slower paced.
About 600 gallons of that a week.
You know, I've been to a lot of dairy farms. Kind of knew what to expect. But they got some pretty cool things going on here at Chateau Milk.
So the glass bottle definitely shines and sets us apart on the dairy shelf. I think the glass bottle makes our milk taste better. I think it gets colder quicker and stays colder. We had to do as much different as the big boys in town to set us apart.
But it was a big risk.
At the very beginning, it was tremendously scary. We didn't think we'd be able to sell the milk of 80 cows, and so we were very nervous. What if we have extra milk? What if people don't like our milk? What if they're not interested in buying from the local farmers? It was betting the family farm, no question about it.
Well, the bet paid off. In just 3 months, their milk was so popular they had to double the herd. And 3 months after that, double the herd again. Today, they have about 460 cows.
In 2003, they were producing 560 gallons a day. Today, it's up to 2,100 gallons. Sometimes the milk can be from their cow to the store in less than 12 hours.
That brings a whole new meaning to the term fresh milk. And come on, 12 hours?
I never knew that it would work. I'm not used to anything working, you know? I've milked cows for 30 years and that didn't work.
Most things don't work in farming.
About 80% of their milk bottles are returned to be recycled. They go back to the Chateau farm to be sanitized and reused.
But the challenge is finding vintage bottle washing machines.
There's not very many of these left around.
How old is this?
This was built in '66.
I know where Leroy can find a bottle washer from 1956. His name is Rodney Miller.
The huge success wasn't the only thing that surprised Barbara and Leroy.
A year after we started, we kept getting all these calls, and they want to come out and see the cows, and they want to come out and see how we do this.
Today, Chateau Farm averages over 80,000 visitors a year.
I love seeing the little people, you know, pet the baby calves or try to milk a cow, and they say, "Oh, that feels yuck." And sometimes they can't get anything come out, and I say, "Oh, you broke it." You know, and then they really freak out like they thought they really broke it.
Jen found out how mouthy a newborn can be.
You are not going to get any milk out of my chin. You know, Rodney seemed a little too eager to teach me how to milk a cow.
And I'm going to show you how to do this, okay? You want to kind of put your this around the top, and
Okay.
then you go.
Oh, you're going to get me! Okay.
I wasn't quick enough.
All right, I promised him not to attempt the milk squirt again. Now it was time to get down to a serious milking lesson.
And just squeeze like that, just kind of like pulling it out.
Wow.
See?
I knew you were going to do it. He can't help himself.
You know, I've been waiting all day to teach Jan how to milk a cow.
If I had a dime for every time Rodney tried to pull one over on me, I'd be a rich woman. I got him.
You know, I shouldn't have picked that fight. Jan's a quick learner, and she has a good aim.
Coming up, Rodney becomes the big cheese for the afternoon. And then we visit a man whose decade-long dream for preserving history finally becomes a reality.
Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal. We're at the Chateau Family Dairy in Osborne, Missouri.
We've learned how the family's decision to sell their own brand of milk in retro glass bottles saved their farm, but it didn't stop at milk.
Along came butter, regular and flavored, ice cream sandwiches, and cheese. Leroy took me back to the cheese room. All their cheeses qualify as artisan and homestead because they're made by hand and with milk from their own herd of cows.
Cheese is kind of like you and me, you know, that gets better with age, right? So.
Rodney, don't you say it.
Dave Klein is one of Chateau's cheesemakers. Today, he's making curds and he's going to show me the way.
Rodney, he's already draining the whey.
After draining and raking the cheese, there's about a 2-hour cheddaring process that has to take place.
During the wait, I met up with herdsman Matt Shapler in the milking
I'm
room.
going to show you how we're going to milk a cow using our machines, all right?
All right. You know what? My grandpa was a dairy farmer. I think he'd be very proud of me.
All right. The hose actually points to the front, okay?
Wait, the hose what?
This is going to go on the right rear, this to the left rear, this to the left front. Does that make sense?
Did you get that? Because I didn't get that.
This one's going to go on your left rear.
Okay.
This goes on the right rear.
How many do they have?
4.
Hold on, look at Matt's face.
I know what the topic of the dinner table tonight's gonna be. The girl who didn't know how many they have.
Because I only got 2. I wasn't really sure how many she had.
Okay. She's got 4
Matt didn't give up on me.
So I grabbed this part.
with this hand.
Oh, with this hand.
Yeah, there you go. There.
Oh, wow. Okay, be careful of that. Oh, I got a kink in the hose. Oh, wait, left front.
Right.
What?
Correct, I should say.
Ah, that poor cow.
Finally, success.
Wow, look at that. Sweet, fresh milk.
From the herd to the curd, the cheddaring is complete, so it's time for all of us in the cheesemaking room to finish our jobs. First, milling the slabs into curd-sized pieces. Man, this is one serious slicing, dicing machine. Then time for some salt and shoveling.
It's my first time to shovel curds.
Next, adding dill, more shoveling, and breaking up any larger pieces by hand. Then it occurred to me, it's time for a taste.
Need salt. You know, I didn't realize how much work went into cheese making. But the folks here at Chateau Milk, they have it down to a science. As you can see on the packaging, they are delicious. Oops, uh-oh. My first malfunction, I think. If I make another mistake, do we get to eat those?
Sometimes. Depends on how big the mistake is.
If there have been any big mistakes here at the Chateau Farm, it certainly doesn't show.
Or just look at the awards for both their products and their business.
Including one award that took them to Washington, D.C., where Leroy delivered some of their award-winning milk to a very special man.
He loved our milk, thought it was so cool that we brought him chocolate milk that he was sending us something. So about 4 or 5 days later, I got a big picture of the president drinking the chocolate milk in the Oval Office. Unbelievable.
There's been a tremendous amount of press about the Chateau's success. I think it's safe to say they've become local rock stars.
You know, the neatest part about this whole thing, I milked cows all those years, and nobody ever told me I'd done a good job, or they never told me my milk tasted good. But I tell you, when we started bottling our own milk, and people latched onto it like crazy, people would come up and tell me how much they love what I do, and they love the milk, and I got goosebumps right now. I mean, I had never had that feeling before, like I'd done something right.
Well, we'll be driving down the highway or stopping at a stop sign and people give us 2 thumbs up. They wave, they go, "Chateau Milk, we love you."
Now, Rodney and I are going to head to the local Hy-Vee grocery store to check out some of the Chateau Milk fans.
I tried to be a little sneaky as I looked for folks putting Chateau milk in their baskets.
Oh my gosh, so the woman just wants to buy milk, and Rodney is like stalking her. I was afraid she was going to call security.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
I'm Rodney Miller, and I'm sorry I was stalking her. But I noticed you bought Chateau milk.
We have 3 young kids, and we like to buy the more natural type of milk for them to drink.
Does the milk taste different?
Oh yeah, the milk is delicious. It's almost like drinking a shake if you have the flavored kind.
Now, back to more sneaky spying.
Yeah. I noticed you bought Chateau milk, so why do you buy Chateau milk?
Oh, I think it tastes better.
Can you describe the taste?
Well, I buy only skim milk. I think that it just plain tastes better than most other whole milks.
Rodney's covered the customers, so I tracked down store manager Lee Smith to ask about Chateau milk.
How well does it do compared to all the other milks?
I sell just as much Chateau milk out of these 2 doors as I do the 2 national brands. So I was surprised. Actually, it shocked me. Actually, I had to look at it twice.
Now the part we've been waiting for all day. Barbara brings us into a room where they've got all their different flavors laid out. They just have one request.
And the only thing I need to know is which is your favorite.
After hearing all these people talk about how good Chateau milk is, Jan and I are dying to try some, especially that root beer.
There was banana,
Oh, cheers, sorry.
Cheers.
orange cream,
That is really good. Strawberry. It's like a big bowl of strawberry ice cream.
Oh, cotton candy.
Down the hatch.
That definitely tastes like cotton candy. This is what I've been waiting for.
Oh, root beer.
Here, just give me that.
I know, open your mouth. That is like a root beer float. This is chocolate.
This is Leroy's chocolate. You know, that's the best chocolate I think I've ever had.
Can we try the coffee? Oh, that's like mocha madness. I think Rodney knew his favorite before he tasted them, but I had to taste all 7, but then I definitely knew my favorite.
The orange?
Yes, I love this. Tell Barb your favorite.
Definitely the root beer.
There are so many great memories that we'll take away from our day at Chateau.
Do we have milk mustaches yet?
We might. Okay.
Coming up next.
1, 2, 3, go.
What's it? Oh my gosh.
It's the North versus the South. Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal.
We are going back in time to the Jefferson Barracks. It's just southwest of St. Louis, Missouri, and was established in 1826.
For just one $5 gold coin, 1,700 acres were purchased and the Jefferson Barracks was born.
That was a heck of a deal.
Yeah.
And the barracks have been involved in every American war since the 1832 Black Hawk War, all the way up to Afghanistan.
It's a lot of history.
And the history's going to live on.
That's right, because over here, soon to open, the brand new Missouri Civil War Museum. We're gonna go check it out.
The museum will be housed in the barracks' old post exchange building, which was built for commissioned officers back in 1905.
You can't tell the story of how this museum is coming to life without telling Mark Trout's story, a former Marine and police officer who had a dream more than a decade in the making.
Well, 11 years ago, I just happened to drive by several of these old abandoned buildings, and I kind of fell in love with this big one here.
The problem with this big one here, it had been boarded up since 1946 and left to rot.
The ceiling was falling down. There was 8-foot gaping holes that you could watch the clouds go by. The north wall was collapsing, and the water would cascade down. It destroyed the running track. Raccoons lived in here, pigeons lived in here. This was really bad, but worth saving.
The building was definitely destined for demolition, but because of Mark's passion for preserving history, he was able to save it. He also told us he was motivated by the memories of his great-great-grandfathers who both fought in the Civil War.
It took Mark and a few good men years to get this building back into shape. And when you see the before and after pictures, you'll understand why. This was no small task.
Did anybody say, Mark, you're crazy?
Many people have said that.
That's what I'm thinking.
Many people still say that.
It has been 11 years of craziness. It's been obviously very challenging in many ways. And so even though our children have gone without many, many things over the last 11 years, I think that somehow their character has grown by watching Dad and sacrificing along the way.
Listening to Jackie, you realize this was a project the whole family had to be behind.
The sacrifice has paid off as the museum is set to open soon. Already installed in the main gallery is a Studebaker wagon whose original parts were found in a barn in Kentucky.
A real horse will be tacked up with Civil War era gear.
Looking at that cannon and hearing Mark talk about all the guns of the era, I really wanted to go shoot.
Speaking of shooting, Rodney's eyes really lit up when Mark mentioned muskets.
Is there any way we can maybe shoot one of those?
Gary Stevens is still in the building. He used to be a reenactor. He knows all about this stuff. I'm sure he'd be happy to take you out and let you burn some powder, as they say.
Ooh, burn some powder.
Burn some powder.
All right. Okay, okay, this was supposed to be my surprise. I was going to be in uniform.
She's trying to upstage me again.
You must be Gary.
You two ready to fire some muskets and get this settled?
I think so.
Do you have any real bullets?
Yeah, I think we'll keep this safe and a little friendlier today.
I think so.
So we head to the woods to shoot. The goal is to see who can get their shot off first, Jan or me, but not without a quick lesson from Gary.
All right, and you two will get to experience something you've probably never tasted before, black powder.
Wait a minute, nobody told me I had to eat an explosive material.
First thing, bite the cartridge.
Oh.
How's it taste?
Not too good.
I just love the taste of black powder in the morning.
Pour the powder down the barrel, take the ramrod and then ram it down. Place the ramrod, go to half cock, set the cap on the cone. At this point, ready to fire.
All right, so I'm definitely not sure that I caught all that. I'm glad Gary's gonna shoot first. Wow. Did you see the flames that came out of the end of it?
Jan and I have a little wager. Whoever is last to fire their gun buys dinner.
Here we go.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
You cheated! Oh my gosh! Oh. You did not tap it down. Oh my gosh, I'm already dead.
With those shooting skills, you know, I'm thinking Jan would have been the first to die on the battlefield. The Union wins again.
I think I'm buying dinner.
That was a blast. And it always feels good to win. How's it feel to lose?
I'm gonna have to find a restaurant that serves humble pie.
While Jan and I were burning powder, Mark was at the Merrimack Valley Bank in Ellisville, where many of the artifacts are being safely stored.
These artifacts help tell the story of how Missouri was a border state and ranks third in the number of battles in the Civil War, only behind Virginia and Tennessee, and that the first engagement of an African-American regiment occurred in Bates County, Missouri.
90% of the artifacts have been donated.
And to have families turn over items to our institution makes us very humble here, knowing that it's now been passed to us to not only preserve these items forever, but also tell their story.
I got really excited when Mark agreed to show us one of the museum's most prized possessions. Bank Vice President Rick Jones opened up the vault just for us.
We are about to see a Medal of Honor from the Civil War.
These were issued to Charles Beeger, who served in the 4th Missouri Cavalry. That's the original Civil War era, and then this is the replacement that comes in after the 1900s. His act of bravery on his citation was he rescued his commanding officer who was out in the field of battle. It's one of the most sacred items we have in the collection.
I'm a big history buff, so seeing Charles Beeger's Medal of Honor up close and personal really made history come alive for me.
This is just a small sampling of what we got in the collection.
What percentage?
Oh, I'd probably say 1%.
Well, this is 1% of
We're striving to open up the museum with about 1,000 artifacts on exhibit. Many of these items have been in safe storage for 10, almost 11 years, just waiting for the day for the museum to open. It's going to be like Christmas on steroids.
We have to come back.
We do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mark is a man making his dream come true.
And preserving history for generations to come. Both are very big deals.
You know, Mark had a big dream and he created a great destination.
And in June of 2013, the Missouri Civil War Museum opened its doors to the public.
You know, you could just hear a big whew when that happened. Yeah, I loved spending time around Mark and Barbara and Leroy Chateau. I mean, they're all preserving history, each in their own way.
You know, and I love the fact that they put years of work into making their dreams a reality.
Just goes to show that the American dream is still alive and well.
And if you have a story that you want us to tell, go to our website and submit your story.
You never know, we might be in your town next.
That's right. I'm Rodney Miller.
And I'm Jan Carl.
Join us again next week when once again we celebrate the great stories from across America.
I may be a city girl, but, you know, my grandpa was a dairy farmer. If I take a break for a second?
Yeah.
So like if I slow down for a minute? Can you keep up?
Jan's quitting on the job.